Hello there, everybody. My name is Ryan. I am from the Vintage Audio Revolution. We do live auctions, record talk, vintage audio talk, you name it. Anything music, really. And we are on Facebook. It is called the Vintage Audio Revolution. Again, my name's Ryan. You often will see me with my better half, Brittany, who also helps me. But right now, what I'm doing is just some discussion, some things that I've been listening to this week. I'm starting to think maybe to start doing some streams, really anything music related, whether it be just talking about things that I enjoy that I'm listening to, comparing pressings, because, on stuff that I really love, I typically will take the time, plus the money, to kind of discover what I find is the best sounding pressing. That's not what I'm doing right this moment, though. I am just going to be talking about 5 albums that I have been listening to this week and that I truly enjoy. I'm going to try to do, I don't know, maybe one a week or something. We shall see. We'll see how this goes, see if it develops into something or not. But without further ado, let's get right into the first piece of the show. So, I've got Fresh Cream. It is a promo copy, a white label promo. It is the mono mix. In my opinion, a lot of the stuff of that era, it's going to sound best in mono. Running it through a mono cartridge. I'm running an 800C Fisher amp, Technics SL 1200 Mark II, with a bronze for my stereo, but for this, I'm running a Grado M Plus mono. It's night and day difference. Don't let anybody tell you that a switch or anything else is going to make your mono record shine, because nothing will like a full mono output. Anyhow, though, it's the debut record from a super band, which is what they were kind of considered for their time, because, they had Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and, let's not forget, Jack Bruce. Great bassist, great vocalist. Clapton, he probably only did the vocals lead, that is, on 10-15% of their tracks. They didn't have a real long music career, because anybody that knows Clapton he was very notorious for jumping kind of from band to band. He went from the Yardbirds to Cream to Blind Faith, Derek and the Dominoes, Eric by himself, Bonnie and Delaney, many, many more that could be mentioned. Anyhow, though, this album was released December 9th, 66 on Reaction for the UK. Then we had January 69 in the US on Atco. Overall, it's a really, really good album. I myself really, really enjoy it. I don't know. I don't think it's my favorite out of the Cream. My favorite probably is Disraeli Gears. But this is the one I've been listening to lately, so it has the tracks I Feel Free, NSU, Sleepy Time, Dreaming, Sweet Wine, Cat Squirrel, 4 Until Late, Rollin' and Tumblin', I'm So Glad, and Toad. So, some notes on there for me. I Feel Free, it comes right out kicking and punching. Some even would say that there is some early kind of punk vibes to this. I'm kind of in the middle on that. I see what people mean. For me, it's more like entry level into your blues with some pop nature still. And, knowing Clapton, he left the Yardbirds basically because of the single For Your Love, which was Yardbirds going straight pop. So I feel like he come in there and was like, all right, I'll do a little bit of pop, but let's develop into a full blues band. which, of course, Cream did. But anyhow, one of the things, there's always been a misconception on the NSU track, the second track on side one. It was written for their rehearsal, and it is, I believe it's supposed to be like non-specific urethritis, meaning essentially like an STD, and he claimed in an interview that a certain guitar player had an, at the time, unspecified. What guitars could that be? It was only a 3-man band. Anyhow, taking that little tidbit out, the mono pressings of this, they're very, very difficult to find. Almost anything on, I like to call it the mustard yellow, because it's like a dark yellow, white mid-stripe, and then like a dark blue, a little darker than this, almost more so like that Beach Boys poster behind me. But the mono presses of these is king, and they're very, very difficult to find, and oftentimes roached. Let alone finding a white label promo. But amazing sounding record. I really, really enjoy it. Rolling Stones has it considered one of the 102 greatest albums of all time. And I don't know. I would say that's probably somewhere around there. I would think that Gears, I'm not sure what they have it at, but I'm sure that it's probably 30, 40 higher than that. That's just me guessing. But anyhow, so let's go on to the second album of the show. Newest release from the P-Fish. Fish from Vermont. Either love them or, I don't know. Either love them or you make fun of them. It doesn't really seem like there's that many Fish haters. There's just people that are like, what the hell's Fish and why is it PH? Well, it doesn't have to make sense, just like their lyrics on a lot of tracks doesn't really have to make sense if you get it. It's a really fun scene, really good people at these shows. I saw them. In fact, I saw tracks off this album before it was released. In 2019, Brittany and I saw them at Blossom. And we got Everything's Alright. And I think we got Leaves. Anyhow, though, the tracks on it are Sigma Oasis, Leaves, Everything's Right, Mercury, Shade, Evening Song, Steam, A Life Beyond the Dream, and Thread. I would say ones that really stand out to me, well, obviously the opening title track, Sigma Oasis, Leaves is great, Everything's Right, fantastic, Shade, I really enjoy that track. Like, see, Trey, he doesn't write a lot of love ballads or whatever you want to call it, but when he does, this is right up there with Waste and Farmhouse and, anything else in the slower type of jam, slow build up to not like a big, if you know jam bands, you know what I mean, in the sense of, they build up a lot and then kind of explode, but on these ballads, they don't. They keep it kind of more of a short and sweet, 4 or 5 minutes. They don't typically, but they don't typically jam out things like Shade or Sample in a Jar, Farmhouse. Not very often do they go past the 5-minute mark. Great piece, though. I left this sealed in my collection for probably a year. And I don't know why I did. It wasn't that I didn't have faith in Fish being one of my favorite bands. I just was like, I don't know. I just really liked the 90s Fish, the Fish and the Fish 1.0 era. Even getting into 2.0, 3.0 Fish for me, it's good, it's Fish. But that's, for me, when I saw them this year, 2022, at Blossom, I really felt like they were back to the good old P-Fish, man, the original stuff. But for this one, notable stuff, you know, they are more so a live band. So your studio stuff, it's, you know, it can be entirely different when you see it. They did this one, they recorded it in a week, and I gotta say that's very impressive because it really is a very well done studio piece here. They were all done except for Steam, I believe. They were all done between 2015 and 2019 concerts. So they were already floating out there even before they were recorded. I would say I would give it like a 3.75 to a 4, whereas most are saying a 4 out of 5, 6.5 out of 10 on many things. But, you know, I still feel like they're sticking with what the original fans, while giving some new fans something to grasp onto. So, you know, very solid. Very solid. It's, you know, it's not the next Junta, but it's really good. I like it. I honestly wish that I wouldn't have waited as long as I did to start listening to it. On to the next. So the next, I have an original U.S. first press stereo on Date of the Zombies, Odyssey and Oracle. Now this album, highly underrated for its time. I mean, in the U.S., they were really only about the time of the season. It had tracks Care of Cell 44, A Rose for Emily, Maybe After He's Gone, Beechwood Park, Brief Candles, Hung Up on a Dream, Changes, I Want Her, She Wants Me, This Will Be Our Year, Butcher's Tale, Western Front 1914, Friend of Mine, Time of Season. Now, there's some things to note on this. Decca had dropped them because they were originally on Decca. So some of this they actually financed themselves. And they actually recorded this album on the same 4-track that was used for the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper, aka Rolling Stones' #1 of all time. You know, that's for another day. We'll talk about how much I agree or disagree on that. I certainly think it's in the top 5. Well, that's all I'm going to say on that. Anyhow, though, they had it charts now around 100 out of 500, but when it was first released, it really didn't chart well. I mean, Colin Bluntstone, the lead vocalist, he did not like Time of the Season. He didn't really actually think that was going to be at all, you know, what it was. And, you know, come to find out, it was certainly the mainstream track that come from it. I mean, that was definitely the biggest thing. I myself on that one, 5 out of 5. Others, I have seen 5 out of 5s, 9.5, 9.3s out of 10. Just depends what grading you go off of. Either way, though, this is one of those pieces, kind of like Pet Sounds, that when it was released, people were like, what, huh? And that's why you don't see a lot of pressing, you know, originals out there. Very, very difficult to find because it wasn't pressed a lot initially because not critically accepted for its time. But I tell you, aged like fine wine, you ask me. Love that piece. Took me forever to find myself a nice original of that one. On to the next. We have the great Van Morrison with Them. This is the harder to find press. I think it's one of the California press plants, Santa Maria, where it has the original hit Gloria instead of saying Here Comes the Night there. This album, though, it's just so many levels going on there. You see, you got the blues, you got the harmonica, hard-hitting type of blues stuff, vocally styling in the blues, but then you've got things that would even influence bands such as The Doors and other, organ-driven psych acts that came out after them. because this album came out like 65 or 6. The single that was Here Comes the Night came out 65. They were a Northern Ireland band, you know, and they definitely had more popularity, I want to say, in the UK originally, which is pretty much how it always is. The track listing on it: Here Comes the Night, Mystic Eyes, Don't Look Back, Little Girl, 1 2 Brown Eyes, Gloria, One More Time, If You and I Could Be As Two, I Like It Like That, I'm Gonna Dress in Black, Route 66, Go On Home, Babe. This is a really nice original mono pressing of this. They're getting very hard to come by, especially in said condition as this one. The US stuff was on Parrot, the UK Decca, if I'm not mistaken. At least most of the originals were. They the biggest stuff from there, I believe, there's the Please Baby Don't Go charted well. The Here Comes the Night, obviously, Mystic Eyes, and, you know, never from the least, but Gloria being the original hit on that. So yeah, that's definitely, for me, I would say on the Gloria, well, on them, Here Comes the Night, I don't know, man, I have to give it like a 4.75 out of 5 for me. I was seeing, you know, recent reviews right around the same range. For its time, not very, you know, not very accepted that well. It kind of took off with the Gloria, Mystic Eyes, but, you know, it just didn't, it wasn't quite accepted then. I feel like Van Morrison got a lot more success on his own during his time, you know, with the Brown-Eyed Girl and all that. But my opinion, them is the best Van Morrison. Just my opinion. So now, on to number 5, the last one for this review, aka the first one. First one, guys. I don't know, you know, I'm hoping this could be a thing. I enjoy it, and I want to eventually maybe build up to, like, having it done live, have you guys, you know, chime in, chat with everybody. So, the 5th one, big one for me. I absolutely love it. It is T-Rex, the Slider. This, again, is a white label promo version. Amazing sounding record. You know, Mark Bolan, he started out, he was a very, like, hippie 60s acoustic guitar, sing-songy flower lyrics, you know, very almost cliche in a sense of his original nature stuff, which was actually Tyrannosaurus Rex. It was cliche, but it wasn't. You should go back and listen to it, honestly. It's some really good stuff. But when he became T-Rex, went electric, sort of, you know, like Dylan almost in 65 when he went on to do electric after the release of like a Rolling Stone. I don't know why I had a brain fart there. But this one peaked at 67 on the charts in the US. Metal Guru, the single, went number 1 for 14 weeks straight in the UK. And I mean, that's incredible. I'm sorry, I think I might have said 71. I meant 72 was the release on this. But Johnny Marr of the Smiths, he stated that Guru was a life-changing song. He never heard something so beautiful and strange, yet so catchy. Which, that's what I've always liked, too, about T-Rex. Like, I can really agree with Johnny Marr in that sense, that it was very different. You know, you had some glam rock elements, early glam rock elements. But it was a bit different and still had that kind of hippie nature to it. And he really liked that chugging type riffs. Like, he just chugged along, you know. And then, as Gary Newman said, he was like, the title track on that is not a typical choice for what the name of the album would be, being The Slider. I mean, he had way more success with Metal Guru and Metal Guru, Rock On, Baby Boomerang, Spaceball, Ricochet, and that. Other tracks on it, Buick, McCain, Telegram Sam. That Telegram Sam was another big one. Rabbit Fighter, Ballrooms of Mars, Chariot, Chugel, Main Man, Baby Strange. Just fantastic. Fantastic stuff. This is one of those records, well, I could say everything that I pulled up so far. Well, this is the last, but everything has just start it, finish it. You don't just put these on for 2 tracks, for me at least. Great work, man. I've always joked around in my community, of course, if there's anybody seeing this that isn't in the group, I've always joked around that thank T-Rex, not the Lord, and it's just a joke. It's just T-Rex is awesome. He influenced so many people. I mean, just look at this image right here, and who's the next person that comes to mind, right? Slash, obviously. He was very influenced by him. A lot of artists were influenced by what T-Rex was doing. He didn't have, for having as long of a career as he had, he didn't really have a lot of hits per se, but what does that really mean? I mean, some of my favorite bands never even charted, so that being said, though, I hope you guys all enjoyed this little tidbit of my personal collection of things that I enjoy. I would love to hear your guys' suggestions for albums to listen to and review, whether that be new or things that I've already heard. I'd love to hear you guys' suggestions on different things to talk about. You know, I'd like to do some videos doing some tech talk, turntable reviews, cartridge reviews. I mean, I got a lot of plans for this, but of course, we just got to see how well this will float. So, anyhow, again, this is for the group, The Vintage Audio Revolution on Facebook. My name is Ryan, and my partner in life and business being my wife, Brittany. And I hope to see you guys on the Vintage Audio Revolution, and I hope you guys check out the next review vid. Peace and love.